This is the Maysama Prana Light Therapy Mask. It is actually the most powerful mask I've ever tested, but when it comes to skin rejuvenation and anti-aging, more is not necessarily better. In fact, more can not only be a waste of time, it could potentially do some damage. Now, power isn't the only thing this mask is known for. It also utilizes pulse light, something I haven't seen in a mask. Whether this is beneficial or not, yeah, it's up for debate. Still, despite all of this, you should see good results with this mask. I'm affiliated with some of the companies mentioned in this video, and I will earn a commission if you buy through my links or discount codes. Products were provided to me free of charge, and all opinions are my own. This is not medical advice. This is the Maysama Prana Light Therapy Mask. Now, if I sound a little bit funny, it's because this is the first soft shell flexible light therapy mask that doesn't have a mouth opening. I'll explain a bit more about this later. In the meantime though, what I'm going to do is test this mask, score it using my research-backed 100-point scoring system. At the end, I'll give this mask a score out of 100, compare it to its competitors, and also determine whether this mask is going to work or not. Okay, round one. So let's look at how this mask fits. Well, it does okay. It stays firmly in place, it's easy to put on and off, and it has a decent strap system with 2 adjustable points each side. As for comfort wearing it, it was okay. I mean, it is quite a snug feeling, which is what you want in a good mask. However, because this mask doesn't have the mouth opening, you do get that pressure against your lips. So I don't recommend using this mask if you're someone who plans on taking phone calls or talking to your neighbor while wearing it. Not only do you get the lip restriction, but because there's no ventilation holes at the front there, you do get a buildup of moisture, which isn't really pleasant. Saying that though, the nose area is very clear, no restrictions, easy to breathe, and you do get really good skin contact across pretty much all areas of the mask. Now, the session times on this mask are quite short, but because of the lack of ventilation, I was getting a bit of stickiness after each session. Still though, it gets a score of 12.5 out of 15 for fit. When it comes to operation, the controller itself is pretty straightforward. You have 3 buttons, power, mode, and time. And there is a little screen here. I say little because it could have been a little bit larger, to be honest. And the resolution is on the low side. Now, most of the functions are straightforward when using this. However, I couldn't figure out how to enable pulsing mode. I had to refer to the manual for that. The manual itself is a nice high gloss, info-rich manual, and there's also a quick start guide, both great things for first-time users. Now, because the mask is flexible, it's a silicone base, you can easily wrap it up and it's great for travel. The controller is USB-C charging, which is always a plus, and it has 3 built-in timer modes, a 1 minute, a 3 minute, and a 9 minute. And there's also 4 built-in modes. You've got a red mode, a red plus near infrared, a red plus blue, and a near infrared only. Oh, I also need to mention, this is the first mask I've used that has built-in pulsed light. It pulses the light at 100 Hertz. It is disabled by default. You have to turn it on. I won't get into the science and the rationale behind using pulsed light. We do have a blog article on that. I'll put a link to it down below. Now, obviously, Maysama believe that pulsed light is beneficial, hence why they've used it. And I actually think this may be the first mask I've tested that includes pulse light. But in a nutshell, is pulse light necessary for anti-aging and skin rejuvenation benefits? No, not at all. Is it going to help? No, that's where I recommend checking out the article and drawing your own conclusions. Just remember though, people are getting amazing results without it. It's just whether the pulse light is going to make those results come quicker or even better. The only real downside in this round is the fact that the mask is corded. Otherwise, it would have scored really, really well. So it does end up with a score of 7.5 out of 10, meaning this round it gets a score of 20 out of 25. Hey, if you want to see the full scorecard with all my metrics, comments, and how I come up with these points, I'll put a link to a resource down below. You can check that out. Remember, I have tested a lot of masks and I'm testing a lot more as well. So you might want to compare scores if you're looking at buying a red light therapy mask. All right, round 2, let's look at therapeutic power. First up, I want to look at the wavelengths that this device is emitting. Now, according to the website, there are 4 different wavelengths. And when I use my spectrometer, I see that, yes, there are 4 different peaks. In the red mode, we see a 630 and a 660 nanometer wavelength. These wavelengths are going to be really beneficial for surface level, skin texture, blemishes. It's also going to help a little bit with fine lines and wrinkles. The red wavelengths are kind of the gold standard when it comes to skin rejuvenation. So it's great that we see not only one wavelength, but 2 different wavelengths of the red in here. Then we have the red and near infrared mode. You can see that there is now an 850 nanometer near infrared wavelength. Again, this is a really good wavelength, well supported in the research and very popular in the space. My only criticism here is that the near infrared power output is quite low relative to the red output. Then there is a red and blue mode. This brings in 450 nanometer blue light, which is going to be beneficial for acne and eczema sufferers. And I like how they also include the red here as well, because again, that does have a lot of benefits. So overall for wavelengths, I'm giving it a score of 8 out of 10. To be honest, it ticks all the essential boxes, plus a little bit more for skin rejuvenation. You're getting the deeper penetrating near infrared light to help with circulation, collagen production, to create some more firmness in the skin as well. All right, now for the dose score. So there's a bit I have to explain here because dosing, power output, it can be quite a complex topic. Well, to be honest, it is a very complex topic. Check out some of our articles on this topic down below. But what my team and I have done is looked at all the research using red light therapy masks, skin health, light therapy, photobiomodulation, as it's more scientifically known as. And we've come up with this chart that breaks down the amount of energy required for optimal benefits in regards to skin rejuvenation benefits. Now you can see that there is an optimal dose. Above that, you still get a really good benefit, but it does drop off. Too low, you're not going to get as great of, if any, results. Now this dose figure is measured in joules over centimeter squared, factors in the amount of energy coming out of the LED, and also a time factor. So what I've done is used my spectrometer and I've measured the amount of energy coming from each LED. And I can tell you that these LEDs are actually quite powerful. I had peak ratings of up to 70 milliwatts over centimeter squared. I measured a lot of the LEDs and took an average, and it came out to be about 54 milliwatts over centimeter squared. Still quite high for a red light therapy mask. Now, by default, the Maysama mask runs for 1 minute, which is quite a short time. But because the LEDs are quite powerful, the calculated dose figure for a 1 minute session was 3.4 joules over centimeter squared, which means it's slightly lower than optimal, but it's still an adequate dose. Now, in the manual, the company states that their recommended runtime is 6 minutes. A 6-minute runtime would mean a total dose of 19.5 joules over centimeter squared, which is actually getting quite high. I think a 3-minute runtime, which is available as an option, would be much better. It would put the dose in the optimal sweet spot range and of course get max points. Speaking of points, I'm awarding this mask 12 out of 15 because when I built this scoring template, I said I'd score based on the default runtime mode in each device, because a lot of people don't read the manuals and a lot of people don't change settings. They'll get the product, especially if you're new to all of this, they'll get the product, turn it on, away you go. So I know it may be somewhat controversial, and I know some other masks have been negatively impacted by this system, but I do have to stick to my metrics, meaning the mask does get a score of 12 out of 15. However, if you do have this mask, again, I'd recommend running it for 3 minutes or even 2 1-minute sessions back to back. So the total score for this round is 20 out of 25. Hey, if you've found value in this, even just one little tidbit of info that's been interesting, can you hit the like button? Even better, can you share this video with others? I mean, if you've found value or learned something, I'm sure there's many others out there that will also find value in it. There is a lot of noise out there when it comes to light therapy masks, and I'm trying my hardest to sort through it all. Not only am I reviewing nearly 30 light therapy masks, I'm also doing a lot of comparisons and buyer's guides, so stay tuned for more. Okay, now we look at coverage quality, how well this light is being delivered and dispersed across the face. So first up, there's 138 LEDs built into this mask, and each LED is dual chip, meaning in total there's 276 LED chips. So I'm giving it a score of 6 out of 10 here. 270 is a good number, it's adequate, it's better than some other masks, but there are masks out there with many more chips. 800 I think is the top that I've measured so far. Now for zone coverage, things get a little bit subjective. This is me testing how well the light is hitting 10 different areas across my face. So let's start with the top of the face. The forehead and the temples, pretty good. It's better than a lot of masks, though it could be slightly higher and it could have had a few more LEDs packed in here for great results. For the crow's feet, there's actually an LED right above it, so that's good. Under eyes is okay, it's good, but again, the LEDs could have been a little bit higher to get optimal light coverage in the under eye zone. Remember, most of the energy from an LED is directly above the LED, especially if it's pressed up against the skin. So it's important to get as many LEDs as possible across the face when you're using a product against the face. For a mask or a panel that is further off the face, LED count isn't as important because the light does spread. When we look at the nose, it doesn't do well in the nose bridge area. The nose itself, there are a lot of LEDs, but it could have better coverage. There's no issues with the cheeks. And also I've given it full marks for the lips. I could be picky and say it needs more LEDs here, but because this is the first flexible mask I've tested that is fully enclosed and covering the whole lips, I thought I'd go easy on them. And then finally we finish with the chin. There's some LEDs here, which is good, but it could be lower, and it also means it doesn't get a great score for the jawline. Overall, 10.5 out of 15, with a round score of 16.5 out of 25. All right, now we have price and peace of mind, because hey, you could have the most comfortable mask with the perfect dose, but if you can't afford it or the company's very dodgy, are you going to even bother? Probably not. Fortunately, the price is pretty good. It retails for $375 US. However, if you use my discount link and code down below, you can get it shipped to your door for about $340 US, meaning it gets a score of 14 out of 20 here. For peace of mind, I give it a score of 2 out of 5. The company was established 5 years ago, and they do offer a 2-year warranty on this mask. However, they only have a 14 days return period, which to be honest is far too short. So for this final round, it gets a score of 16 out of 25, meaning the total score out of 100 is 72.5, making this one of the better masks I've tested so far, though I still do have a lot more masks to test. Though it isn't market leading in any particular round, it does better than average in pretty much all of the rounds. It's comfortable to wear, relatively easy to use. It has all the key wavelengths, and though the power numbers are a little bit funny, does a good job here. Zone coverage is good, and price point isn't too bad as well. I do like how it's got the 2 red light wavelengths in there, and the fact that it has the most powerful LEDs I've tested so far, that is going to be attractive to some, though maybe not necessary. What is also going to be attractive is the pulse-like feature. Personally, this isn't a deal breaker for me, but for those of you who really like the pulse light, and again, I've written articles and done interviews on it, then yeah, there aren't really any other options out there, at least based on what I've tested so far. We also have a mask now with good lip coverage, and we do have 4 different running modes. Saying all of that, it's not great if you want to be talking with this mask on. The coverage could be better, likewise with the LED count, and yeah, that really short returns period could be a turnoff. Saying that though, is this going to work? Are you going to see beauty enhancement benefits? Yes, you are. As I've said numerous times, it's got the right wavelengths, it's got adequate power, more than enough power up your sleeve if you need it, and it is hitting most of the key areas on the face. So is it worth $340? I think so, yes, because of the things I've just mentioned. Sure, there are cheaper options out there, but they may have less LEDs or less advanced features. And sure, you can pay a lot more, but do you need to? Maybe if you want extra coverage and a few other fancy wavelengths such as green and amber. Saying that though, I always end these videos comparing it to some other options. For a similar price option, you could check out the Project E Lumelux Pro. Now this mask scored really well, mainly because it has 800 LEDs built in. It's 800, so coverage quality is exceptional. Fit and comfort are very similar to this Prana mask, and though it's only got 1 red light compared to the 2 in the Prana, it does bring in amber light. And price-wise, it's about $30 cheaper than the Prana mask, so definitely check out the review on that one. If you want to go top end and spend big bucks, then the Therabody Theraface is an option. It's actually a completely different design. It's what I refer to as a hard shell design. A lot of the LEDs are off the face, and there are a lot of LED chips in there, so coverage quality is really good, and you're going to get coverage across the lips without restriction. It doesn't have pulsing, but it does have a built-in vibration mode, but you are paying about $650 for this mask. So it is up there, and my wife doesn't really like it because of the weight. So that's something to keep in mind as well. Finally, if you're still looking for good quality, but slightly cheaper, then I'd probably recommend checking out the Nanoleaf mask. This can be had for $250. It has more chips than the Prana mask. It's the same flexible wraparound soft shell mask, and it ticks all the essential boxes, though may be considered by some as a little bit too basic. It just has the core wavelengths and no pulsing, of course, but it is saving you money. So hey, I recommend checking out those reviews, But if you're really stuck, enter your email down below and I'll send you access to my light therapy buyer's guide. Oh, and be sure to subscribe because I will be comparing all 30 masks, I believe, in an epic showdown video. So check that out. In fact, depending on when you're watching this, it may already be live. So I'll see you in the next video.